and welcome to Santos TV. Here in our studio, we have Channavy. Channavy, thank you for coming to our studio and hang out a little bit with me.
Oh, definitely. This is a new gig for me now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, I'll have you over a lot because I enjoy talking to you. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm old school,
yeah.
so this is fun.
Hey, mi casa, su casa.
Oh, dude, thank you.
Que no te, no
Así
te.
bueno. Oh,
I don't know if they say that same thing in Spanish. We say that a lot.
no.
So, Channavy, you are from South Central East Asian. It's a place that they help a lot in our community, and that's what we're here to talk about. And to our viewers, can you give us a little introduction about yourself and what you do?
Well, thank you for having us here, Santos. I really greatly appreciate your amazing viewer who are listening to this important message. The Center for Southeast Asian was birthed during the refugee resettlement period. And the agency was birthed in 1987 to serve these folks that are coming from countries that was affected by the Vietnam War. So these are folks that, whether they have education or whether they did not have education, they came here because of the war, and they arrived here with nothing.
Wow.
Except a hope and dreams, right? And just remember, these places in our land in Southeast Asia, these are different community and ethnic group within Southeast Asian. So we can't clump them together. It's just like in South America. You can't clump, people that coming from different area in a region of South America. There's folks that bring in different languages. There's folks that bring in different tradition and culture and beliefs. And so we have to remember that these are folks that are differences,
Yes.
that bring in uniqueness to this Rhode Island that we call home. So the organization was to be birthed to serve these community that came here with no language, the English language, and also the understanding of maneuvering through the vegetation of this culture, right? So the agency was started to serve these community, whether it's English as a second language or just simply learning English. So it's a different level. And then there's also job opportunity that these folks are coming in, and they have to have skills and have jobs. Right. People forgotten that folks that come from these during that time, they were told if they want to have family that they want sponsored, they have to pay back to government. So whether that's their bills, their airplane bills that they have to pay, or there's no government support back then because government just getting to learn about this community. So the center was birthed, and the name it's called Socioeconomic Development Center for Southeast Asian. It's a long name and synonymous with SEDC, right, for a long time. But when people, in mainstream thought socioeconomic development, they thought it was a corporations, and they thought it was a building corporations, building housing, building buildings and whatever. So when I came on board 11 years ago in 2011, we changed the name because purposely we wanted to make sure that it's just simply Center for Southeast Asian. And it go by CC, CSEA for short. So CC now, for 11 years during my directorship, we take on not just learning to our community, providing education, adult literacy program, providing job, but we also provide uniqueness in terms of our culture, the language, the people that are inside our building that's serving our community, reflection of the people we serve. And they have the language skills, the read and write, the spoken language of those that are coming through our door. So the major function of our organization is having the right people who are the reflection of our community. The second is the culture, the knowledge and understanding of assisting our community, not only the language, but providing them the understanding of this is the new wave. So for example, family coming in with tradition and culture, like I said before, they have a different perspective in those. So, for example, there's a tradition for thousands of years in our culture of coining, right? And coining is, in this culture, is unknown, is foreign. So when you have a child or an adult that have a spot, that have a red mark on it through, whether it's a long line, whether it's around, they think it's abuse, right?
Right.
But it's not. It's a medicinal practice, right? And so these are things that our family get, not ourselves in trouble, but the system get us in trouble. So that's when system come in, remove a child from a family,
Wow.
or whether a woman being considered domestic violence, right? So we have to understand that these are culture that are practicing these medicinal purposes, but it's not kosher here. But now, because a famous swimmer is recognizing that this, like whether it's cupping, so now he's turned this, he coining it to be the organic medicinal purposes. So now it's acceptable, you see? So it's revolving in our culture, but it takes time. So the Center for Southeast Asian are the central place that provide that unique understanding perspective. And we have to be effective voice for our community. And that means is that we have to say the right things, do the right things to stand up for our community. We understand there are differences, whether it's philosophical, whether it's personal, whatever circumstances, we know we can agree to disagree. Right. So the subject of coining, now people are getting to learn about that the coining is actually medicinal, is not harmful, so it's now a little bit more acceptable. But we just need a little bit more, right? Maybe 30 years from now we can say, whoa, coining is actually good.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I remember when I first saw coining, like 15 years ago, it was new to me. I was like, what are you guys doing? Because for people that don't understand, coining is they'll take a cap and they'll rub it in a linear way, like throughout people's back, and they'll look like maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And even if they have a headache, they do coining. If they have a stomach ache, they do coining. Everything for them is coining.
Exactly, because that's their practice.
Right.
That's their traditions. That's their culture, right? We don't have the right to tell people that's not a way to do it if they have been practicing it and they've been doing it for thousands of years, right? So, yeah, it looked painful, but you know what? It's effective. We can agree to disagree on that.
No, and he's right. It does work, because when you don't understand something, you criticize it.
Exactly.
And I'm guilty. I remember I criticized it, when I was there, and that was like, that doesn't cure headache. That doesn't do that. You just hurting, your skin, your back, and whatever. But when I tried it, and I was like, oh, it does work. And then I feel shame, because I judge it, but and it's similar to, let's say, that the cup, when they put the fire in the cup and they put it like on your back and get like the lump. In the beginning, people didn't understand that either, and now it's used widely, everywhere,
because someone famous coining it, and so now it's become organic medicinal purposes. When someone famous or someone from a culture that is different from you and I, they take it and they coin it, and it become the chic thing of all time. It's not become, but when we practice it, it was condemning. It was considered abusive. It was considered it's not kosher. So I think that in our culture, in our community, we have to get to know each other. We have to learn that there are multiple ways in how we practice certain things. So the center is a voice to really share and shed the light of differences. And so when we started, we served mainly Southeast Asian, right? And now we have expanded to serve a great deal number of Hispanic community, as well as other immigrant and refugees that are coming and call Rhode Island home. We are one of 15 states in the nations who are welcoming folks from all throughout the globes here. So we have to make our state, you and me and many others, have to make people who are coming from these foreign places welcome in our state. And that's what the center is making everybody feel welcome. And because our building is in the storefront of South Providence, everybody is welcome. Our staff, not only a reflection of Southeast Asian and Asian American, but is also the South American community as well, and as well as Portuguese Creole, because we knew there is a lot of number of people that have high needs. So that's why the center is not just because it's Center for Southeast Asian dedicating our service to these community, but it's also other community called the center home.
And I think you guys are doing a great job. I personally have seen what you guys have done in community, and we're going to talk about that later on. My next question is, how do you first heard and how do you get involved in the beginning of CC or Center for Southeast Asian?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the center is my home. The center is not just a center. The center for me is my bloodline, right? I knew the center when it was SEDC, when it was start birthing, because it's birthed on Potter Avenue out of the Genesis Center, right? And I live on Potter's Avenue, and I was always involved. But for me, during that time, I was a youngster. So what I have to do was build my own education, build my own expertise, build my own experience. That means putting myself through a really good education system in Rhode Island. And if I want to do good, just like anybody else, if you want to do good, we have to build ourselves first.
Right.
We have to knowledge ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. We have to arm ourselves with information that is accurate, and so that we can better serve our community. So throughout the years, I am one of those community members. As a refugee, as survivor of genocide, as the only child out of 5 children left, I am the one that walked the walk of our community and the face of our community. And so for me, when I said the center, I eat and breathe, and it's a bloodline of mine, it is. And that's why sometimes people said to me, wow, you are mean. Well, I am rigid. I am very strict. It's because in order for us to do right for everybody, we must have policy, rules, and guidelines. And there is no delineation away from that. And because of that, I do not lean away from what is ethical and morally sound. And so sometimes I am rigid. I am considered tough to work with. It's because I will not do one and not for others. If I do one, I will do for others. And so what that means is when we think about resources, if we're going to give a bag of rice to one family, we're going to give that bag of rice to another family. Whether you look like Southeast Asian or Asian American or not, you want it, you get it. And you need it, you got it. That's why I am considered very tough. I'm an old school. I come from a place where human being does not treat each other well. We must treat each other kindly, because that's what we're here for. Because if we're here to treat you kindly and others is not, I am no better like anyone else. So that's why I am rigid. I stand on, this is a line that I stand on. I do not delineate from that line. You see?
Right.
So that's why I think that people either truly believe in what I do or question what I do. But they need to get to know me and why I love the center and why I hold the center to the standard, the highest standard, the way it is now. When people say we do great work, we do amazing work. Our staff step up to the plate, and they do in the middle of a rain, as you can see on Tuesday, and they stepped up and they did. And then our community. I was so emotional Tuesday. Reason why I was so emotional, Santos, was I am a survivor of genocide. I wait in line of tsunami, rain, heat to get food in Kawidang, okay? In those places that those people stand in line for. I was there. And the reason I am so emotional, it was those people was waiting in the middle of rain to wait for a bag of rice, fish sauce, oyster sauce, vermicelli noodle. Why? I told my team this, because they need it. If they didn't need it, they didn't do that. If I didn't need it, I didn't stand in the middle of 110-degree sun for food in Kawidang. Okay? So what that means to me is, as a spokesperson for this community, is that I have to do good for this community. And I have to do good for everyone. That's why it's hard for people to understand why I continue to advocate and sometimes agitate people to do better for everyone.
Right. Is to push each other. If we don't push each other, then we won't reach that limit. And for those people who don't understand about the Khmer Rouge, Khmer Rouge was something horrible that happened where millions of Khmer perished to the hand of Pol Pot. And it was savage, what he did, and I've been to the museum in Phnom Penh. I seen, the skulls, the skeleton, and the missing people in the pictures, and the horror that happened. And the story, people that talk about it still to this day, that I met, in Cambodia, when they talk about, those times, and going days without food, water in the heat, like you said. I mean, it's hard to imagine. So, it makes sense, why you push people, to the limit to succeed, to better themselves. If we don't push each other, then, we'll just do nothing. You know what I mean? So it's not that you've been rigid or, or tough. It's that you've been respectful and you know what it takes to get to that goal. So that's what I interpret it as, not as, being rigid. You're doing well and you're doing the job the way it's supposed to be done. So for people that don't know Center for Southeast Asian, what programs do they offer? Do you have any program on, or
what not we don't do? That's the thing, and that's a coining from our social service director of programming, Lisa DePonte. She always said, we don't do nothing, we do everything, and there's nothing that we don't do, and quote unquote, that's her quote. So she is extraordinary. So we deal from all the basic needs, from food insecurity to tax preparations for free.
Wow.
To rent relief, right? Helping people who have challenge paying their rent, utilities, to also doing research. We collaborate with Brown University, Community Health Center, whether it's University of Connecticut or Khmer Health Advocate. We're doing research and studies, because the question for from viewer or from our community, as well as from university and many other people, is that we don't have data. We don't have this aggregation of data. But if we don't start doing it ourselves, and we allow others to do it for us, then they're going to do the way they're doing it. So for us at the center is not doing just direct programming, serving directly to clients, whether it's domestic violence, sexual assault, immigration, translation, language access, or rent relief, or tax preparations, or adult literacy, job training, and many others. But we also do policy changing. So we're doing research on obesity, dietary, family engagement, all these things that we can be the trusted resource of our own information. And the things that we always pressing to challenge is, let's do more for our community by doing this aggregation of data. Really dive down, because when you compare the Southeast Asian and Asian American, you are now stereotyping two vast group of people and ethnic groups that are very different from each other. So for example, folks like myself who came here after the war, we don't read and write in the English, and some of us doesn't read and write in our own native language. And then when you're dealing with other Asian American community, they're coming to United States or Rhode Island to studies, to gain benefit, or even jobs that Rhode Island or other states doesn't have people that work in those fields, so they're recruiting them here. So it's very different. So the stereotype that when we melt everybody together, there's a stereotype that they're highly educated, that they don't have needs. All those things are just, I think it's a ploy, and I think it's an excuse to say we're not going to allocate resources and support and funding to those communities. So you're going to have to defend it for yourself. But we can't do that. We need to understand what each of those community issues are. So for us, is really pushing that button for people and challenging them to do more for our community. But in order for them to do more, we have to also ourselves do more, right? We got to step up to the plate and said, we're going to take an active role in being responsible for our community. So we're going to participate in those research. So that's why, like the All of Us research program, that we're collaborating nationally to really recruiting our community member to be part of that research, so that we can say that is our research. We're right now also working with Brown University to look at the mental and social health of our community as well, because we need to understand that our community have issues in those areas. And so we need to focus on that. So the center is not just direct service every single day that mom, dad, auntie, uncle, your neighbors, your friend coming in, access those services. That's once they go home, but also changing the overall service and changing the climate and how we serve this community. And we have to take that active role. And we invite folks to take that active role with us as well.
So one of the things that I was saying in the rain when they was giving up rice and food and everything, a lot of people were asking me if that's like something that just happened like once a year, or maybe because of the pandemic, if that's something that Centers for Southeast Asian is going to continue to do in their community, to give back to the community as they've been doing, because this is not the first time that you guys do this. Just even in the range, you guys were still there doing it. And I know that you guys were going to first give it away on Elmwood Avenue, but it got so big that you guys had to move it to a different location because of so many people coming over. So, but still, the question is, the people want to know, the community want to know if that's something that you guys are going to continue doing in the future.
Yeah. So I think, for me, it's not a white and black answer. I cannot just say yes, because these resources doesn't just come out. So let me explain to you. A bag of rice, right? It was before pandemic was $15, right? For family who's working $12, $13, $14, even $15 an hour, they can achieve that. They can afford to buy a bag of rice, right? Not a lot, but they can afford it. But now, people who are working in that amount of money and now having to double the bag of rice cost, which is $30 a bag. So now these people working the same amount and have to buy a bag of rice, which is double the amount of cost, right? So the center really working hard to secure private money, because this is not government money, because government have a very rigorous process that you can't purchase this cultural appropriate foods to our community, right? They have a fixed way. So we have to get private individual who willing to write these check. These are, if you think about $30 for just a bag of rice, time 3,000 bag of rice.
Right.
That's a big ticket item.
Yeah.
For an organization to raise, for an organization of minority to raise, for a leader who is a woman to raise, to bring to that that day. So it take a lot, Santos. Throughout this, yes, you have hit the nail on the wall by saying that the center didn't just did it, on Tuesday. The week before, we did it at What Loud. We did it throughout the years because we knew that our family needed food insecurity. A cultural food insecurity is must be provided to our community. So there are food out there, but it's not essential to our community needs. And that is what we're trying to do, is showing people in systems that there are foods that is particularly for our community. And I challenge those people to come with me and see it. That's the food they want, and willing to stand in that rain, in that storm, in that cold to take those food. So to answer your question is that this is my bloodline. I want to do this often, but I can't do it alone. I need help. I need people in system that have those checkbook, that have those ability to provide those resources and funding so that we can go that. So let me paint this for you. That goods is not just good for our community, for mom and dad, grandparent, auntie and uncle, your neighbors, your friend, but it's also, we purchase it from local marketplace because we want to make sure our small minority owned businesses survive during this challenging time, because they are the backbone of our economy. So not only that, our community, when they came to this country, like I said earlier, worked really hard. Like my mom, when she came here 2 weeks later, she went to work at Provident Metallizing, making $2 and change an hour, right? $2 and change an hour. She paid her taxes, right? And now you're asking her to donate to the center. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Where she is every month short herself, she's not going to. That's why we ask group of leaders that have been here, that have their foot secure in the ground, is to step up and help, because it takes manpower to get to that level. So we're not only in individual, family, community, but we also want to be mindful about helping our small business stay survive throughout this time as well.
And that's a good thing, because you not only giving back to the community, you helping the community, especially small business, which is the backbone of America.
Right.
And they need the help. So it works great. In that sense. It's beautiful the way you guys do it. Because we all need help. We all need help to help each other in order to grow. In our community. And how can people volunteer? Let's say people see this podcast and interview, and they say, "Oh, I want to help," and be a volunteer, or even a donator, for South Central for East Asian. How can they go about? What are the steps that you guys have, or that they should do?
We are simple. Come over, 270 Elmwood Avenue, Providence, right there. Walk over. We have two amazing directors, Kanika Polk, who's directors of business. She's oversee all our language banks, making sure language access, making sure our business side of our organization, generating resource and revenues back to our organization. And Lisa DuPont, which I made mention earlier, she's director of clinical. She is amazing, extraordinary woman who work really hard to serve our community. Those two people, and then many of our staff, just come in and just sign up. Give us a call to 401-274-8811, or going on our website and check out who we are. And then give us a call, whether it's volunteered, whether drop off a check. The only thing we don't do is we don't do online payment, because a lot of time is that we spend paying to those online systems more than what we want to capture 100% back to the community. And last year we spent 89 cents per dollars to our community, to our programming, because we want to make sure every dollars we make, majority of it go back to all our community. And we employ people who look like them. It's the people that put back the money, the resources that they get paid, and put back foods onto their family table. So we are committed to making sure, like you said earlier, it go in circle, because we know how hard it is to live here, to call Rhode Island home, is so expensive. And then for family who may not have what you and I have, it's even more expensive than to live here. So we all have to know that we have to step up and take accountable for people who may not have enough.
Okay. And speaking in another term, we are in campaigning season. This is the year where other political candidates go out and talk to everyone, like Asian community, Spanish community, to seek vote and to get to know who they are. There is, I'll say, a little problem with the Asian community not having their voice heard. It's a fact. Some maybe, like as you said, they come from refugee or other countries, also from Southeast Asia, and they don't understand that political way of America, and they said, oh, maybe my vote don't count, and I'm not just gonna bother. They never do anything for us. But what would you like to say that as an Asian American, to the Asian community about how important is for them to get out and vote and to make their voice heard?
Mm-hmm. I kind of a little bit disagree with you. I think that the Southeast Asian and Asian American community are very active. It may not be seen in mainstream as we are active. We're private people. We do things privately. As you can see, people look at on Tuesday, that was over 3,000 people there, because the misunderstanding is that our community, they're not present here in Rhode Island. So if elected officials continue to believe that we're not part of Rhode Island or we don't exist in Rhode Island, that's not the community issue, isn't it? That is our own personal vendetta issues on ourselves to create a misinforming information of this community. So first of all, we have to meet each other halfway. This community exists. History show that we are the third largest state in the nation that welcomed Southeast Asian during the refugee resettlement and continue to be here, even though some of us have moved on to do better things in other states, but they are here. They play an active role. They vote. They go and vote. They not vote in numbers because sometimes people don't go and talk to them. Remember this, if you have 3 children, we always say a middle child, we ignore, right? We don't get to know because we focus on the first one and the last one. The middle one, do whatever you like, right? Because, we're too busy on the other 2. It's like that. So if we focus on this community, we're going to find out that this community is very active. They're very voiceful. But I think that we have to get out our own comfort zone and go to them. Not just them coming to us, not just at a time when there is election time you go. It's like visiting your family member. You don't just go during holiday. You meet them every other day. It's like doing charity work. You don't do charity during a season. You do charity every single day. Your heart is pure. You're doing it every day. That's what matters. And that's what this culture, this community believe, is that you don't just come to us when there's election time. You come to us when there is celebration time, there's challenging time. We get to know each other. Santos, you came to me and you said, I'm Santos. I didn't know anything about you. And now you and I are like brothers and sisters.
Of course.
Right? Because why? Now I know who you are. Because you didn't bury yourself on the other side and said, she does her stuff, I'll do my stuff. But you came. So that's what it is. It's about meeting each other halfway. This community is very active. It's just that sometimes information doesn't get to them. And then we start blaming them for not being active. No, they are active. They are here. As you can see Tuesday, they're here. And you can see on April 5th when we did it at What Loud, they're there. They are there. But we can't allow our leaders to just come when it is convenient for them. You come when they need to become. We are family. We are Rhode Islander. And Rhode Islander, this is the face of Rhode Islander. Like me and you and many others that you saw in this couple weeks.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I love have you put it straight, because there is a misunderstanding, like it's different cultures. So there is a misunderstanding, with the Asian community. But the way some people see it is, it's like they're not getting out. They're not doing this. But it's as you said, you have to go and knock because they are doing it. But you have to go and present yourself and, tell them like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And, come help out, go seek them.
Right.
If you don't seek them, they will not come. And then when they don't come, you said, is how I said, they're not active, they're not coming, but it's because they're not being sick.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, how do you get people here? Amazing people. Look, I have only 15 staff in my building. I get over 3,000 people in that space, less than a few hours. Why we can do it is because we have never said, we're only going to be there at New Year time. We're only going to be there at Christmas time. We are there throughout the year, during the celebration time, during the challenging time, during the time that they need us, we're there. And the times that we need them, we're there. So that's why the center is so effective in mobilizing those numbers of people. And then people, it have its own layers of those voices that can communicate. So once you get into those voices, it's just permeate the communication. So that's why they are here. It's not the misunderstanding that they are not here and not active. They are very active. It's just that we need to meet each other halfway.
And get out and vote.
Get out and vote. Get out and vote. That's your voice.
That's right. So where do you see the future of Center for Southeast Asian? How do you see the future for that place of not business? It's when we say place of
service.
Place of service. I'm sorry,
Place
that's the
of
word. So how do you see the future of say place of service?
I have seen so many great things for our organization. I have seen that we've done amazing things, that we're going to be doing amazing thing, extraordinary, more services for our community. We're working in partnership with different organizations and entity to bring cultural health care, whether it's doctors and nurses that look like us, that speak our language, and also social and emotional and behavioral health we want to bring. We also want to provide a place where our elders can come in and spend the whole day at the center, where they can go out to eat at restaurant where otherwise they cannot afford, cannot do because of language barriers. We want to make sure we take places, like they go places where they couldn't go. So we want to be in that place where we can transform our organization, a center, to a place where those elders can come in and interact with each other. Socialization is so important for them. And then we also want to provide our youngsters, our babies, our new citizens that are coming to this world. We want to teach them that bilingual, speaking another language, it is a really amazing things. Mm-hmm. Speaking another language is intelligent. It's a talent. It's a brain building. It's a must. So we cannot have our children, our babies, not learning our own language and read and write our own language. So we want to have an early child care program that focus on bilingual, not only on math and science, but start from the beginning, helping their mom and dad. There's a place that they don't have to pay to come to an education place where they can learn and be ready to go to school when school age group come, so that our mom and dad doesn't have the burden to say, here's $25, which I don't have, to pay at a place where they could say, my children now go to school. Every child can qualify to go to school. So we want to build a place at the center that is wrap around, focusing on our culture, our language, our unique way of how we take care of one another. That's a place, that's a vision that I want for the center, that anyone that come in, whether you are a professor whether you are a radiocaster, whether it's you, Santos, coming in knowing that it's a place that we know that belong to all of us.
It's a place of love.
Place of love,
I
place
love
of
that.
service.
Service.
Yep, place of giving to one another. So it's not a place where, yeah, I am rigid. I'm telling you, I am rigid, but I want to build a place. It's not utopia, but close enough to utopia that our community of colors, that whether you're from South America, whether it's from Southeast Asia, or the new immigrant and refugees that are coming in, this is your home. You can access service there.
And I believe that you guys are setting the standards, because this is like a model for other places to copy and be like, oh, let's do like Center for Southeast Asian. They're doing a great job.
Right.
That's the model that we should copy,
Right.
and express, because everything about it is, I mean, every since I went there, I seen, how, full of life and how everyone treat each other and how everything works. I mean, just amazing.
Right. And I think that for people, we must not look at ourselves and set this limitation because I'm Asian, you're Hispanic, or you're black, or whatever. There's no limit to how we should one for ourselves, for our family, for our community, and for our state, and for our nation. I have children. 2 of my children are in service, right? My brother, my mom remarried, my stepdad have my brother. He's a staff sergeant. There was no limitation. Even though I came from war, I demand service from my family. I demand service from myself so that I can give back to the community that I call my family, that I call my country. That's what love is. No, love is not just about, that we can take from whatever, but love is about what we can do for one another, for each other. That's what service is about.
Wow. And that's how it should be.
Exactly.
And those are great words, what you just said. And Channavy, we're coming to an end of our interview. But before that, I would like to give you the last word. If there's anything that we missed, if there's any shout out that you want to give to anybody, or anything that probably didn't come to mind earlier and that you wanted put out there before we close out.
Well, thank you, Santos, for this amazing opportunity. Like I said, I'm old school, and this is a brand new way of communicating to your listeners, to your viewers, to hear. I think that for me to add it is that we as community, minority community, whether you're minority, whether you're not minority, whatever you call yourself is, disadvantaged, underserved, whatever the language, whatever the description is, I think that we have to begin thinking about philanthropy, about helping not just for yourself, your family, but pick up the slack of our community, of our state. If we all sit here and said, it's not my job, it's not me to pick up that trash, then no one will pick up that trash. If we walk by a street and it have trash all over, well, pick it up.
Right.
Yes, your hand is dirty. Yes, there's germ. But you know what? You can wash that off and you can make it look so nice for other people. You may not think it right now, but please, my last word is we must come together and unite under one roof. This is God land. This is a beautiful land. Let's make it happen. We came from different places in this world, right? Wherever, whatever year, whether 400 years ago you came here, whether you came here yesterday, or like me, came here 40 years ago, this is our home. We left our homeland to a place we call peace. Let's make that. Let's continue that, because we have to continue the philanthropy, the kindness to one another in order for us to continue calling this a peaceful place to live together, right? Because we've forgotten sometimes. We've forgotten that we escape horror to be here. And then when we're here, we've forgotten where we came from. We should not forgotten. Don't forget the history of how we got here. And now we got here, let's make it better for one another, for our children, for our community, for our state, and for our country, right? So this is my last word, is that we need to be united together today, not wait, because then it's too late.
And we should do our part, like you just said. We all should do our part in helping out and be together. And with that, I want to say that it's a Cambodian New Year, and from Thailand it's also a New Year. So I want to say Happy New Year. Shoshanam Sabai. And there's going to be great party this whole week because of the New Year, which is the Year of the Tiger.
The Year of the Tiger.
So to everyone of Asian descent, I want to say Happy New Year, and be safe and enjoy these holidays as it is, and also Happy Easter, because Easter is also on Sunday.
Exactly.
And so Happy Easter to everyone. And Channavy, thank you for coming, Shoshan and Sabai. And thank you guys again for being with us in Santos TV. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.